Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 Plus 2, we're doing a comparison. On the left we have Xbox Series X where it's optimized, and on the right we have the Nintendo Switch. So with the Nintendo Switch version just releasing, I thought we'd do what I like to call a best versus worst case scenario, but I will say the Nintendo Switch actually does hold up quite well for this game, and we'll be talking about that more throughout the video. Now, this type of video editing does take a lot of work. Be sure to like the video so more people can check it out, and subscribing is great as well. So with that, on the left for the Series X, we get a basically native 4K resolution at 60 FPS within the fidelity mode, which is what we're showing today as a comparison. There is also a performance mode where you get up to 120, and that one is fantastic as well. If you've never played it, I really do suggest checking out the performance because it is smooth. So anyways, for this comparison, I thought we'd do like a resolution and a comparable frame rate. So on the right, we get the Nintendo Switch version when it is basically docked to the TV, where it is 1080p at 30 FPS. If it is undocked, it's 720p, but we haven't shown that off here. We're just showing off the docked version of the game. So obviously, you get the full experience. We're going to be showing off a number of different kind of areas that we kind of play through, just doing a regular typical 2-minute skate between them, just so that you can get an idea of how each room is different. It is very hard to line these up, obviously. I mean, I could probably sit there and really try to line it up, but that would be an immense amount of work. So I hope you are seeing the difference just in regards to the textures and the detail and the environment. So another big part of the comparison here that I didn't quite include in the video is the loading times. It is significantly slower for the Switch, but I mean, I didn't really necessarily think it was the fairest sort of thing to throw in here, or quite necessary. I mean, it's just obvious, right? You got a next-gen console versus the Switch handheld, which again, I might be sounding negative, but the Switch version actually is kind of a solid offering when it comes to experiencing this game on the go, and just playing it on the Switch. It's kind of wild, to be honest, that this actually works there. So with that, I also wanted to mention a number of other things. You're going to notice some frame drops on the Switch version, whereas the Series X version seems to be absolutely flawless to me. So just keep that in mind. You probably get a little bit dips here or there when something really chaotic is going on for the Switch version of the game. And yes, I don't have necessarily the best combo moves as I mess up in that, but I just wanted to show off the levels so you can see a difference between them. Another big thing to see between the two differences, well, the differences between the two, is the texturing of the environment. So for the most part, the geometry, everything is there. You can break stuff, you can smash things, you can go into different areas, but the geometry and the textures seem toned down considerably between the two versions. Sometimes it's actually close enough, but at other times on other maps you'll notice that the art sort of is a bit blurry, or it doesn't load in, or if it does load in, it's slow. That's kind of something that pops up quite a bit when you're traversing different environments. There's also an element of a little bit more pop-in, I want to say, with the Switch version, and you'll see that kind of in the backdrop, especially if you're quickly changing locations, going from one part of the map to another. You're going to notice certain objects kind of flopping in. But yet, again, it's cool to be able to play that on the go and experience this game anywhere with the Switch. That's really neat, and it is a comparable game. It's the exact same experience. They didn't really cut anything specifically that I noticed while playing, mode-wise, or kind of graphically in terms of the geometry and the setting and the style of it and the music. It's all really there, and it's available on the Switch, which is really, really neat. And then we get to a third level here. I'm just trying to think comparison-wise which ones might be really the best. And you'll notice a little bit more, jagged lines. You won't notice as perfect, as good not reflections, but shadows and stuff. Well, I mean, some of the reflections won't be as good. You'll see that in, the puddles. But for the most part, I think they are, decently comparable in terms of being a similar experience, but yet the Series X obviously just quite shines. And then, on top of the resolution decrease, the fluidity is a very big thing for this type of game. So having, a smooth 60 is really quite optimal for this experience. But, the biggest thing you're going to notice on the Switch is just it feels a lot slower to play, especially if you're going from the Series X to the Switch. It's going to be a little jarring to be dropping that much, especially if you go and you do the 120 FPS kind of mode here. It's a little harder to pull off like tricks and do grinds and stuff when it's slower, and when you might notice, you know, a drop here or there, which is, to me, a bit disappointing, because, you know, the fluidity just feels absolutely fantastic. Having this optimized version is great too. I mean, the 1X version that was inherited was, you know, pretty good, but having this, you know, optimized version of the game for Series X is awesome too, because it just feels really, really cool and really great. And it kind of gets me excited for them to maybe do like a, you know, a follow-up hopefully someday, or a new version or another remake. You know, anything would be just spectacular. And to also have that available on all the platforms would be really cool. But if they could really take advantage of the next gen tech, I think we could get some really, really cool experiences here. But it's hard to really dive further into the details of this one, because there's a lot of, you know, seeing the two kind of lined up here to the, again, to the best of my ability. You're just getting an idea of how it looks, and the taxis and stuff. I think they're harder, like they hit you more on the Switch version, because you're not reacting as fast, at least I've noticed. And it also seems like some elements of the floor texturing in that, it seems a little rougher and a little less shiny on the Switch version. And then, but you know, if we continue talking about everything being, you know, similar in terms of scale, you get that destruction, like I mentioned, you get physics within the environment, you get things breaking apart. That stuff seems to be the exact same, which, you know, I do actually highly appreciate having that option for. And it's a comparable experience to play either way. Like I said, on the go, really good to have the Switch available. But at home on the big TV, if you have the option, you're probably going to want to go with the Series X. And I mostly just find these comparisons fun to do, because you can see both of them in action. You can get them somewhat lined up at moments, especially with the big bailouts. Oh, I also really want to praise the Switch for keeping the fast get-up for the skaters. So this game really introduced a nice feature. In the original, you know, you get knocked down, it's a little brutal. But in this one, you get knocked down, you can pop right back up, basically. You get, like, rewound, almost like a VHS tape or something like that. And I love that the Switch version actually was able to have that as well. You know, because I was kind of being like, oh, maybe the loading's going to cause an issue where, you know, you might not get up as fast. But yeah, it's basically just as instant as, you know, the other platforms for this one. So it's just sort of a slightly downgraded game. You'll also notice that the colors don't pop as much on the Switch version, just in regards to like the outfit. I tried to emulate a similar character between the two, but yeah, it's just not as vibrant, and you know, just the quality difference between them is kind of neat. And then you've got the HDR, obviously, on Xbox as well, that the Switch just doesn't have available. Oh, and we're on the school level here. I wanted to show the another school, but I forgot to film it for the Series X side. We've got enough map comparisons, so we still have 3 more levels after this one, so you can see them in action. And I think I picked some pretty good ones to sort of display and showcase. And I think you're seeing maybe some slight frame things on the Switch on this part, but anyways, a really, really cool part to see the differences between is the last one, where you're sort of in the place with the big eyeball, and you're really seeing the texture difference between them. But that's all I have to say about this one. And again, these videos, you know, they're a lot of work to put together, so liking them is fantastic. You know, giving a like is great. Subscribing's awesome as well. And just enjoy the rest of the skating here, as rough as it might be for some people. It's just to get an idea of the differences between the two. But again, some props to the Switch version, because pulling off this game on there, kind of impressive. I mean, it's not a perfect experience, but it is really nice to have available. But if you're going for the big screen, grab the Series X one. You won't be disappointed with the quality. It's really, really well done. And this is a great game, so hopefully not the end of our revisiting of the Tony Hawk Pro Skater series. I feel there is much more to play and enjoy as we continue awaiting new entries or remakes or remasters, anything. Please more.